In this second lesson about GIMP, we will see some basic commands like creating a new document, a new image. So these are going to be really basic lessons. The first lesson will be really easy, and then we're going to increase the level of difficulty step by step so that everyone can follow even from starting from zero. So in the previous lesson, we saw that we can manipulate and do some changes to the interface. We saw also how we can reset and how we can customize it. So in this video, we're going to go to talk about the workspace mainly. We're going to create our first documents. So we're going to use the file menu. So we're going to start with this drop-down menu, and the first one is the file. So we can create a new file or new document, or as it's called in GIMP, a new image by clicking on this button or using the shortcut keys Ctrl plus N of our keyboard. So let's click here and we're gonna open this little window, this little pop-up setting that we need to use to define the first characteristics of our document. So in this case, we have image size. This is the most important one. And then if we click on the advanced options, we have some more advanced settings that we can do. Now, if we don't want to spend time here and we want to just jump ahead, what we can do is use a template. So you click here, you have all the different templates for printing. So these are all like papers like A4. And let's do A4 so you can see it changed the dimensions. So the width, the height, and the units. So you can use these templates if you want. And you have also digital here. So you have HD, Full HD, 4K, and other stuff. So if you're doing like digital for a screen, if you're working for like a website or something that goes into a screen, you probably want to use these. If you are working for something that's going to go in a smartphone, you have the smartphone formats down here, and then you have all these printed possibilities. So let's say that I want to do A4. So everything has been set up for me. I just need to say OK. And that's it. This is my new document. Now, if I want to customize it a little bit, let's go to File again, create a new one, and let's go to the Advanced options. So for example, what can I do here to customize it a little bit more? So let's first choose A4, and then let's say that I want like more quality. So to change the resolution or the quality, you need to use these values right here, which are the resolution or DPI or PPI, depending on what you're going to choose here. So you have these different options. And then you have color space, so RGB color or grayscale, if you want colors or grayscale. And then you can change the color depth or precision of the colors to 8 bits, 16 bits, 32 bits, and so on. Now, the more you increase these, the more RAM and the heavier will be your file, but also the better the quality of the image. Now, it depends if you're doing like graphic design or if you're doing like photography or if you are doing something printed or non-printed, you can change this. And you have here the gamma, the color profile, which is the built-in RGB GIMP color profile. So we're gonna leave that. And also you can choose a different background color to start with. So if it's a paper, it's probably gonna be a white, unless it's kind of a transparent paper, you can use transparency. So let's choose white. And here you can also leave a comment if you want. So it's going to be like a meta tag. It's not going to be visible in the page, but it's going to be there for the users. So let's say OK. And this is now a white piece of paper. Now let's create another one. Let's do File, New. Let's create something digital. So let's say I want to do a Full HD screen for my video editing project or for whatever I need this graphic for. So I'm gonna stay with this width and height. I'm gonna leave pixels because when we use digital, we use pixels, which are little squares. For those of you who are not aware, are little tiny squares that compose our screen. So we have a width of 1920 squares, and also height. We have 1080 squares right here. So let's leave this, and in the advanced options, let's choose the transparent so that we can apply something like uh, a green screen. So we have like an image and the transparency behind, so we can then overlap this to a video. We can create a logo or I don't know, graphics for a news broadcast or whatever. So let's do okay, just to see the difference. So you can see this is also horizontal, these are vertical. So again, file new, you can change the orientation from here. So usually printed is on vertical and digital will be horizontal, but not always. So you can always change all of this stuff. You can also start from a template and change. Now you can see that the pixel per inch when we use something that goes into a screen is usually 72. But if we do something for printing, it's usually 300. So what does pixel per inch means? I'm gonna explain to you this in just a minute. Now, what I want to show you is that you can change this, all these values right here. You can change. You can also change the proportions of the pixel per inch. You can change the units. You can change the color depth, wherever you want to do. You can change everything, and you can also reset everything. So if you reset, these are going to be the standard setting, which is going to be a full HD screen. So let's do okay. So this is kind of the standard, the preset. And we did some other testing here. So this is our workspace where we're going to work. And these can be called windows. So you can open more than one project at a time. And you can switch between projects. You can also organize them differently here. You can close something that you don't need. So let's close this first one with the X. Okay, so you can close the windows. You can also go here, File, and you can close a view from here or a window. You can call it as you want. And you can close all if you want. Now remember that before closing, you may want to save so that you don't lose your work. But we're going to get back to the other options here in just a minute. I just want to show you a couple of things for those of you who are more curious. Now remember, you have also the manual, the GIMP manual, if you want to deepen your knowledge. Now pixel per inch, what does it mean? Now the pixel, again, it's a little square. So the more pixel we have under an inch, this is a square inch, of course, it's not your thumb, but you can think about this as a little square that is going to be under your inch. So how many pixels you have under there? Usually for a screen, it's always 72 ppi. So this is the short term, ppi, meaning pixel per inch. So the more pixel per inch you have under your inch, well, the more quality you'll have, but also a heavier file. Now, this is not needed usually in digital world because we don't have too many pixels in our screens, but it's something that we want to manage a little bit more when we do printing. So here you find all the information. If you want to, again, know more, just going to go quick and easy for every one of you. Now, the other one is DPI, which means dot per inch. And this is more popular. Why? Because this is using the printing machine. So the printer doesn't print pixels, it prints dots. So increasing the number of dots will result in increasing the quality of the printed product that you just created. So usually we have a really high value when we do printing and a kind of medium quality when we do digital. This is the main difference. Now DPI, PPI are really similar in terms of quality, but to be more precise, you're going to use DPI for printing and PPI for digital. Now also color depth. So you need to choose 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit. This means that you're going to have more colors, more variants. So if you use less colors, the image will be simplified, especially again in photography, so pictures and photos. So if you want to have a better quality, you're going to increase that value. Now these are bits; these are not just 8 colors. This is something that needs to be multiplied. So if I go here, just searching in Google, you'll find all the information. So you can see that 8-bit, it's 256 colors. 16-bit, it's exponentially higher. So it's going to be 65,000. And these are the one, look, this is 32 bits. You can see how many colors you have in there. So again, this is called also color depth if you want to know more. I'm just going to keep it simple. Now, if you know all this stuff, you can just skip ahead, or you can increase the speed of the video if you think you already know all these basic stuff. So if you want to know more about other settings, you can always go to the help, and you can open up the GIMP manual, the user manual. So you can see we have basic concepts and other stuff. So if we go here, we can read it online. It's going to open up the image. You can see down here is opening up the manual, or you can also search it in Google. You can search the manual. There you go. So it's just loading up. You just need to wait. Now let's continue. So this is how we can create new documents. We can also use the create features here. Now these are really handy. You can create something from clipboard. So perhaps you copy something from somewhere else, you just want to paste it, or we can open a web page. This is really interesting. So let's use here, let's open up the GIMP web page. You can choose the width in terms of pixels. So let's change this. Let's do it 1920. So full HD. Font size, we're gonna stay with the default, and let's create. Let's see what happens here. So you can see again is downloading, and we have some problems here with some messages, but let's just say okay and skip it, and let's just wait. You can see down here is trying to get the information from that web page. Is going to create a document. There you go. So you can see that we have here the web page as an image, and we can see how the web page was done, how it was like structured. And you can also create a web page in GIMP, and then you will give it probably to a web developer, which he will turn it into a website. But you know, the basic is this, the draft is this. Everything starts from graphic design and then develops into something else, 3D or websites or whatever. So we have different options here also from the scanner. If you have a scanner or a camera, you can capture the image. You can also use the screenshot feature. So if I click here, and there you go, we have a small window again, and it's asking me if I want to take a screenshot of a single window, or if I want to include the window decoration, the mouse pointer. And also I can take a screenshot of the entire screen, including or not including the mouse pointer. Then we can set up also a delay, so we have the time to do something and then print the screen. And then we can use the tag image with monitor profile or convert image to sRGB. Now let's keep this one here for the monitor profile. So let's snap. So this is a quick snap. We have some few seconds. So let me open this file menu. There you go. So we have now the image right here. Now, what if I want to save this? If I want to export it or save it? Well, we have different options. So let's continue here, and I'm going to go down here to save. Now, the first time you're going to save something, either you choose save, save as, or save as copy. It's the same thing because this is the first saving. So you need to give a name and a position to this. So I'm going to use just save. Okay, it's asking me when I want to save it. So in my case, I have a specific folder of works. There you go. And I'm gonna save it right here into assets. Okay, you can see I've already done something. So I'm just gonna call this lesson 02. Okay, and you can see that this is the GIMP format. It's called XCF. This is the GIMP format, and this is the format of the source file, which means that I can always manipulate the original file. I can change the composition that I created because this is the source. This is not something that I have printed already. It's not something that I have defined as a final asset, the final outcome. the final output. So this is kind of a work in progress format. So let's save it. And also we have different options here to show all files or not, to select the file by extension, and also we can do save this XCF with better but slower compression. Now compression is needed to save space and also to have not too heavy files. By the way, you can see here the size of the file in megabytes and also the date. So let's save it. Now once it's saved, I can always open it. So if I close this and I want to get it back, you can see if I close another file, it's asking me to save it before closing. So do I want to save this, or do I want to discard everything, and or do I want to just cancel the operation? So you need to know what you want to do, but be careful. If you didn't save your project already, save it. Otherwise, you're going to lose everything you've done. So again, you can go here, save as, and we are back on the same page of before. But I don't want to save this, so I'm just going to discard the changes, and also these others right here. I can do File, close all, so now it's empty again. The workspace is empty. I'm going to go to File, and now I will open. Now you can open the XCF files, or you can also open images. So this is the final outcome. You can see here I have a PNG, which is a image format, and we have all the information right here. And this is instead the XCF that I just saved. So you can see that this one here, it's even smaller than these others. So let's open it up. Okay, now what if I want to save this as an actual image? Now to do that, I'm going to go to File, and instead of saving, I'm going to go to Export. Now remember, you have all these shortcut keys on the right, so to quickly save something, you can do Control S. Now saving like this is going to override whatever you're going to do onto the original file. If you don't want to overwrite, you can save as and save it with another name. So let's call this lesson 1, for example. Or you can save it as a copy, save copy, and you can see this is gonna replace it. So you just need to change the name if you don't want to override. So if we want to do an image, a final asset, we're gonna export it or export as. So let's export, and you can see the first format is gonna be PNG. Now PNG it has more quality and retains more information than JPEG, but we can also change this to JPG if we want. So just type JPG, and that's gonna save it in JPG, or type PNG and it's gonna save it in PNG. Now you can also go down here and select the file type. So you can see the file type here and the extensions right here. Well, we're gonna spend more time on this later. So let's just save it, export, and also we can change the quality. Again, let's make this quick. We're gonna come back here later. Okay, so we save now this as a PNG, not just as a simple image. So we can open it up either as the source file or as the final PNG output. Now we also have other stuff here, but we're gonna see later on. And we also have open recent files. So these are the most recent that we use. And you can see here, I can override this or I can export it with another name. So these are the most basic operation we can do, creating new files, opening, saving, and closing, essentially. Now, one last thing I want to show you is when we create a new file. Let's just reset and use the standard. So let's take a look to these rulers right here on the top. Now we talk about units, and we know that these are not centimeters or millimeters here because this is a digital. So these are pixels. Now in the digital world, we have X and epsilon. So our workspace is composed by many pixels, and these are the numbers that count the pixels that we're using. So these rulers represent the pixels on the X, and we have positive X going to the right and positive epsilon going to the bottom. So if we go up, we have negative epsilon. If we go left, we have negative X. This is just to show you how computer think. So they start from the top and they go right and then they go down. So like when we are reading a book. So this is again just to finish this first lesson about pixels, about resolution and all that stuff. Let me just create a new file and I'm gonna create a A4. Okay, now you can see that also in A4, even though this is for printing, we have different measures. These are now millimeters, but they are still counted as digital. So they always go positive X to the right, negative X to the left, positive epsilon to the bottom, and negative epsilon to the top. So even though this is printed, it's still gonna be created as a digital. So we have the same logic of digital documents. So these are the main difference between printed and digital graphics. And we're gonna stop here for this lesson. If you enjoyed, please subscribe to the channel and stay updated with other courses and other guides and other lessons of this course. And if you wanna support us, if you wanna thank us, you can join the channel as a supporter. So thanks for watching and see you in the next lesson.